As I said, it's an honor to be here as we develop the arts in the Hudson Valley. I do love the Hudson Valley. I've been here since 1974, and I've worked among its people. I have an environmental laboratory, a water consulting business, a water treatment consulting business, and I travel throughout the valley meeting its people in that business since 1974. So I've dealt with the blue collar, the white collar, and a lot of the artists now that wear no collars. And I was raised in a musical family in Staten Island back in the 1950s, 60s, 70s, before I came up to the Hudson Valley. And it seems like that was a different era. My father was a musician, and I had a peer group that music was very important to us. It was raised without a TV in a time when there was no DJs, and live music was at the dances, at parties, at weddings. It was a very important part of my life and the life around me. So the Falcon really started in the late 90s, I would say. I purchased an old church that was run down, a Methodist church that had been abandoned in the 60s in Marlboro, New York. Marlboro is only 10 miles to the northwest of here. And I started to develop it, to turn it into a community center, and renovated the building a bit, and I got to have 2 performances there approximately, and it was a money pit and a big drain on myself and my family. So fortunately the post office purchased it from me, and they didn't want the building, they just wanted the land. So I took the building down and used that land to build a performance space and a space for the use of my family behind my home in Marlboro. And this really became the Falcon. I opened it in 2001. So it started out as a house concert series in this building, and it was unique that it was community. People brought food and drink to share. We had some tables set up, and people would bring food, and everyone would partake. My daughter had a box she had made for school, and we turned it into the donation box. It was some kind of art project she had done. It was a cool looking box. It's still there at the Falcon today. And it was a democratic system. People would put in whatever they wanted to contribute. It would go 100% to the artist. And it was just a wonderful experience. Behind my home, these wonderful musicians would come. People would contribute whatever they wanted, share food and drink, and it was just a beautiful atmosphere, a lot of love in the room. So I got involved with the arts through that. Kids were welcome into the room, and we began to have great shows. About 2 years later, I was asked to talk at the Newburgh Art Salon. Some people had gotten together, and they wanted to gather community leaders and art leaders in the Newburgh area together. And they asked me to speak, and I started to, because of my dealing with the artists and realizing that they were, not the best off economically, just like Joe and O Positive brings up. I was aware of, the needs of the arts community, and I did a little research on it, and I started my mission at that time, really, through talking to the Newburgh Art Salon of support living artists. It became my mission without really having a mission statement. I'm not a not-for-profit. But it seemed that the majority of the artists poor in our community here and in the world, which we're the most prosperous nation in the world, supposedly. And most of them require second jobs and have difficulty in having houses and families and supporting themselves. So I felt as if there was an exploitation of these people who were so intelligent and so passionate. So I started to think about support living artists. How do we get people to support the arts in their lives? So I began doing a few different things. I started concerts in the park in my community, and they were free concerts, and I always had youth performers to open up these shows. And my son had a band at the time. My son Lee was in a band called The Chills. They were, you know, from 7 to 10-year-old kids that were quite talented. And I would take that band, I worked with them to say, let's talk about music and listening, because people would come to the Falcon and they really didn't know how to look and listen. I had artwork on the walls. They wouldn't even look at the artwork. I had great musicians on the stage and they wanted to talk because it was a social scene. They came together, but I was getting artists that require listening. So I had to kind of work with the people to keep it down during the performance. I put up signs, and you know, it's very important. And so I figured, let me take this band into the schools and kind of teach how to listen. So I'd get the band in the auditorium. I did it in Poughkeepsie and the Marlboro schools, and had the band demonstrate their instruments. Lee would demonstrate his drums. The hi-hat has this sound, and the snare goes like this, and there's 88 keys that sound different. And I could really draw these children in and focus them. And I thought, this is great. This is what we need. We need to educate people to listen in order to have a great experience with the performance. And then I started to bring an artist with me and do it. And I had a friend, Hideo Shiro, who's an excellent artist and a philosopher and a poet. And he would come and he would set up his paintings and talk about them. And I would talk about, you know, purchase art from living artists. Buy the music from the performers, hire them for your parties. And I figured if I could get to the kids, they would be the next group of adults that would be supporting the arts. So these house concerts grew. I did it for about 9 years there. The audience grew, and the amount of artists in my roster grew incredibly. I kind of outgrew that location, and I needed a new location. So I found this old building. It was similar to the Roundhouse in Beacon that was shown there. It has a waterfall. It's an old factory. And my challenge was to bring the love from the room, which was created by really the lack of money that transpired there. No one charged you to get in. No one charged you to have a drink or some cookies or cake or something. But to bring that into a commercial entity, to keep that love in the room. And that was a big challenge for me. So now I had a restaurant and a bar and a performance space. So I wanted to keep that democratic system where I had the donation box and people would contribute what they want, which I loved that idea. And the woman who was speaking about the kitchen, the community kitchen, I think it's a great idea. But it has its challenge. You have the cost of operation, the huge mortgage to purchase the place, you know, the whole catastrophe involved. And money's negative impact. I don't want to, you know, make it that's the focus point. So it's really been a wonderful experience. It's opened me up to the world of art and music, and the wonderful, gifted, and intelligent artists that perform at my place. And I get some of the greats in the world. Grammy winners will play there for a donation box. But the people, I've nurtured them. They are generous. The bands that walk out of there always will come back. They are treated well by us, by the audience, and just the contribution box, it works very well for me there. The proximity to New York City is so important for what I'm doing. It's a wellspring of music and art. Not only do we have live music, we also have art that changes every 2 or 3 months on the walls, and it's amazing the artists around us that will perform and display their work. But I noticed that the audience at the Falcon The last part I've kind of written down. I need to read it a little bit. So it's mostly made up of baby boomers, people like myself, that grew up in that era that I grew up in where live performance was very important. I get some young people there, but not as many as I would like. I always encourage people to bring their children, so we have more audience as time goes on. But it's a shrinking market with the baby boomers. And there's a lot of failing venues that are competing with each other for that shrinking market. So we need to work together to bring new life into the live music industry. Today's kids, they can watch bands instantly from their couch, on their screens. They can get music instantly for free. It's a different world right now. They don't really know how beautiful live performance is. Their idea of a live performance is the spring or the winter concert that their mom or dad makes them go to at the school. It's not the same. And the couch and the screen is the center of their entertainment world. They've grown up with corporate America really brainwashing them into this soulless big box lifestyle, like reality TV. There's upscale clubs that had live music now that have abandoned live music, and they're competing for who has the biggest big screen TV. It's kind of going backwards, in my opinion. So the Hudson Valley art scene that I envision, it won't be about the franchises and the big box stores that line Route 9 from Poughkeepsie to here. And really across the entire country. We have something here in this Hudson Valley that's beautiful and needs to be maintained. The big box stores between here and Poughkeepsie is really just corporate America trying to define our lives and our culture. And I think what we're getting together to is to build an oasis from that. So that oasis will be about the hip communities that promote and preserve the mom and pop local businesses, the hamlets, the towns, the villages, the cities that promote galleries and art studios. It'll be about organic farms and farm-to-table restaurants, microbreweries, wineries, distilleries, hiking and climbing trails, parks and venues with creative film, music, dance, and art festivals. And we can do this and still be cutting edge and interactive. We want this to be the Valley of the Artist, a place where young people will feel proud and be a part of. So the Hudson Valley's future as an oasis will require local governments and schools that promote quality and creativity and make it part of their curriculum. It will require love and work and knowledge of the leaders, and it will require education. We've heard a lot of this today, and it's very important. It will require attracting people who get it to travel here and to move here and to stay here. It requires infrastructure where the artists and the audience can relax and enjoy and prosper. I really believe we're part of something unique and beautiful here. It's a soul worth protecting, and we need to work together to make it grow and prosper. Thank you.